O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. CVA muzzleloaders, it's just a better gun. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. WORX Power and Garden Tools. Toyota, let's go places. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Swaggerty Sausage, the finest premium pork sausage products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings.
Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait.
Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs for the outdoorsman. Terminator, the best food plot implements on Earth. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, state parks, and historic sites.
From Black Powder headquarters in the Bojangles studio from Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains, O'Neill Outside presents CVA Radio. For anything in the outdoors, this is your source. Listen in and call the show with your comments or questions. And now, here's O'Neill.
Yes, indeed, from Black Powder headquarters in the Bojangles studio high in the mountains of North Georgia, this is O'Neill Outside presenting CVA Radio to you for the next 2 hours. I hope you'll be able to join us. No politics. Oh, God, what a relief. No sports, professional, college, or otherwise. No, indeed, this is outdoors. Hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, and spending time with your family. We have many things to do this morning. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750. That's 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And across the country on the Sports Map Radio Network, it's 800-972-8255. 800-972-8255. We'd love to hear from you. We've got a lot of things to do this morning. We have it's my pleasure to invite you to watch O'Neill Outside television on Fox Sports Regional Networks, Carbon TV, Waypoint TV, the Hunt Channel, the Outdoor Action Channel, and newly, and now O'Neill Outside is on YouTube TV. Ooh, that's really great action stuff there and a terrific picture. Anyway, there you can watch the television show. We'll do the True Turn Tackle Tips. We'll talk about my book and read a story from the book today. A new feature within the radio show. We're going to have a story every week. And I'll tell you how that started. We'll have the Medal of Honor tribute, the radio prize package, the True Turn Tackle Tip, the WORX Tools promo, the YouTube. We've got a lot of things going on. And we do hope you'll join us. 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta, Georgia area, which is a big area, and or on the Sports Map Radio from Texas to Minnesota, from Maine to Miami, at 800-972-8255. Outdoors headed your way. Would you like to talk about it? I would like to know the greatest distance you ever traveled to go hunting and fishing. We may have some interesting calls, and I'll be back. 12 after the hour, and before we start taking the calls, I do have a recommendation for you. If you live in Georgia, and the same thing is happening in states all over the country, gun and rifle, shotgun sales are off the chart. It's up like 70%, and I'm not surprised, and neither should you be. But the Department of Natural Resources in Georgia, and probably in whatever state you live, they have special programs. Now, for instance, in Georgia, it's called How to Learn to Shoot. Believe me, if you've purchased a gun for self-protection or whatever the case might be, you're going to have to learn how to use it, how to load it, how to clean it, and you have to get used to using it. Okay, so Georgia Department of Natural Resources, go to their site, Georgia DNR, and find out where these classes are being held. They're outside. You get to shoot. Believe me, this is I highly recommend this recommendation. I recommend a recommendation. That sounds good, doesn't it? Anyway, Georgia Department of Natural Resources, in whatever state you live, learn to shoot. A lot of you are purchasing firearms for the very first time, and you must become used to and familiar with handling that gun, that item, that shotgun, that pistol, whatever the case might be. Okay? So there you are. Well, first of all, let's go and grab a call here right away. Chris is calling in Jasper, Georgia. Good morning, Chris. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. How you doing, O'Neill?
Good.
Hey, we just lost our hunt land, and we've tried to check with other lands, and it's so expensive. And the amount of times that we go, I said, this is kind of crazy that we spend that much money.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I was wanting to take my son and grandson somewhere, and I was just wondering if you knew how you could look up places to go.
Okay.
Maybe in the southeast or somewhere that's, I'm sure you've been to a lot of places, so I wouldn't want to travel, like to Colorado or,
right.
out the northwest, but,
I have an excellent source of information for you to take your choice. If you will visit the Department of Natural Resources site, Georgia State Parks and Recreational Facilities, you look them up on the internet, Georgia DNR. There are 10 or 12 or maybe even more wildlife management areas in Georgia. Matter of fact, my Black Powder Studio, my home here, backs up to what's called the Dawson Forest, which is not far from you. And there are plenty of deer. You just have to have a hunting license, and it's not open year-round like a hunting season, but there's plenty of time, and I will tell you that my experience is that there are millions of acres in Georgia for the DNR, for wildlife management areas, that aren't hunted at all. Matter of fact, they're neglected, and there are plenty of deer, plenty of bears, hogs, you name it. You've just got to take the time to find where those bedding areas, activity areas are. But there's plenty of land, and it's free. And look up the DNR, and you'll find out all these places. It's great, really.
Okay, I appreciate that. Real quick, the only thing that would concern me about that would be, with nowadays, you don't know who's in the woods, who's looking down a scope at you, and that's because that would be the thing that would concern me on that deal. But still,
okay. Well, and let me address that if you can. All right. Number one, certainly be familiar with where you're going. Number two, make plans to travel far away from the truck, wherever it is you park. Number three, if you can, hunt during the week. Most people that hunt the DNR places, they're lazy. They park their truck and they walk 100 yards. Okay? And most people hunt on the weekends. Okay?
Okay.
And so does that completely eliminate that minor danger of not knowing where other hunters are? Yes, it does. But only in a minor way. But the place that next to me, I think the Dawson Forest is 22,000 acres.
Right.
And occasionally I'll see someone park there to go hunting.
I've never hunted there. I've passed it a lot of times going into Dawsonville. So I guess I could just check it out, and that would probably be the place I would like to go.
That's a good idea. Being from Jasper, where you have 10 miles to go.
Right. So
15.
I'll check it out. Like you said, probably during the week would be the best. I mean, most of the hunters are pretty responsible, but there's always going to be that one, so I can't take that chance. But, O'Neill, I appreciate it.
You bet. Appreciate you listening to the program and giving me a great call, great question, and many people will learn something from it because you asked. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
You bet. There you go. Have a great weekend, pal. There you go. There we go. That call. Now let's go to Paul. Good morning, Paul. Let me punch the right button. Good morning, Paul. It's O'Neill. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, boss man, how you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Awesome. I tell you, my dad taught me a little tip when I was in, I must have been in 8th grade when he taught me this.
Uh-huh.
He said, if you'll take your finger and put your finger on the actual fishing line, you can feel what the line is doing. You can tell what the current's doing to the line. You can tell what the wind is doing to the line. And furthermore, heaven knows, if you actually get something on the line, you will definitely feel it.
Absolutely. That's a good tip. Let me give you an illustration.
Sure, by all means.
A great number of times, if you watch a fishing show on television, Hank Parker and a lot of these terrific fishermen, if you will watch their hands, the way they hold the reel, you will notice that an awful lot of them, and I do this, they run the line through their fingers as they fish. They just don't hold the reel. They just don't hold the rod. They hold the line. So your dad was giving you a good tip.
I thought I'd share that with you. I remember that from years ago, and I was like, wow, you know.
That's right. Well, and two things of this nature, Paul, little tips like this, and
Right.
I make this emphasis with a lot of calls that or questions that people ask. If I give you a tip, and this is a good one, and I thank you for it, that doing that may not get you 50 bites in a day instead of 10, but it may get you an extra 2 or 3 that you feel that you wouldn't have.
Exactly.
Those little things like that.
You don't.
They get you more bites, get you more fish.
You never know what that would do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good question. That was a good tip your dad gave you. It works.
I thought I'd throw that out there. We still need to meet up, man.
I know it. Let me give you a tip that I learned from another fisherman one day because I've got the proper timing to do it.
Okay.
And that is this, for everybody listening. If you are a light line fisherman, like, for instance, lakes in the southeast, deep, clear water lakes with spotted bass, you use light line to catch more fish. Okay? Make it a rule. Every time you catch a fish, retie that knot, retie that bait, and then you won't have near as many break-offs, because you can't tell the strength of the knot and the condition of the line as well as you would like to. There's another tip that would keep you more. I got to go, Paul. Have a good one, pal. I appreciate you listening to the program.
All right.
You bet. Thanks, pal. This is O'Neill. We'll be back. 25 after the hour, we got some calls coming in here. We want to speak to every one of them, but it's my responsibility and my pleasure to tell you that this program, O'Neill Outside, CVA Radio, is brought to you by CVA, Arctic Ice, Tough Shed, The Furminator, Timbuktu Outdoors, WORX Tools, Stripling's General Store, Snellville Heating and Air, Rocco's, and Ritter-Critter. Ritter-Critter came up this past week. You wouldn't believe the stuff those guys get out of the house. And the animals are headed inside. So, there you are. 25 after the hour. Now let's talk to Roadster. He's been holding on for a few minutes. Good morning, Roadster. What do you say, bud?
Good morning, Big Shorty.
What do you say?
I'm mad.
Uh-oh. I hate that. What are you mad about?
I do, too. Especially when I lose senseless lives on our lakes and rivers because people will not simply buy a $15 ski belt like in the old days, like you and me.
Yeah.
You know, we grew up with these folk, with just a ski belt, not the big old obtrusive Coast Guard approved stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are getting out here on these lakes for just $15, and they're losing their lives.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that no one ever thinks about it, and it makes me angry to lose my citizens, great Americans of Georgia, on these lakes because they will not buy a 15. Well, I don't think you can buy them anymore. Can you buy those, O'Neill?
No, I don't think so. The ones that are the best ones now are the ones that they inflate.
They're not Coast Guard approved.
Yeah, I mean the best ones now are the real lightweight ones.
Nobody wants to wear those. Everybody wants to. So like when I was making a little money, I had a boat on Lanier. I always wore one as a captain of the boat. And you can stack those up, and they're easy to stack and store. Mm-hmm. And you're not getting in the water if you don't have that ski belt on.
Correct.
And I never lost anybody. But, I mean, everybody was on click. I mean, but I understand that you want to be sociable and you want to look cool. But come on, people. $15, bring those back into the market, and let's use a little common sense, and we won't not lose people. Because every O'Neill, you know that everybody thinks they can swim better than they can.
Yeah, well, when you bump your head on the boat when you fall out.
Pardon?
I say when you bang your head on the boat before you fall out, that doesn't help you swim.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah.
I just want to bring it up. I'm tired of seeing people lose their life in this, and it's not an intrusive to buy one of those things if you can never find them. They ought to bring them back, and because I learned to water ski with a ski belt, not a vest and all that other crap. But come on, let's something that simple, and people can get out here, and it's I mean, it's not designer, but I mean, just buy one of those things for your people, and don't drown.
That's one of the checklist things that you must have, especially when the boat is running. You need to have on a personal flotation device. I'm high on that myself, and I appreciate the recommendation.
Love you, buddy. See you in Best of the Queen.
You bet. I'll see you soon, pal. There you go. Say hello to the Queen. Okay. Tell me, what's the greatest distance you ever traveled to go hunting or fishing? Think about it. I'd like to know. It might be we can get some interesting stories. What's the greatest distance you ever traveled to go hunting or fishing? In my case, I'm very fortunate because of the the television show. I got to go to South Africa once, many years ago, and it was as it turned out, a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And so it was good. Okay, I've got something for you. We're going to start something here, and we're going to call it the week's story. Here's a story. Nicknames. Do you have a nickname? Well, they're great. Whether you're a fisherman, a hunter, a gym rat, a sports fanatic, a baseball or football player, even a golfer, nicknames serve us very well. It's a guy thing, I believe. I don't never heard of a woman giving another woman a nickname other than whether it's complimentary. Of course, I could be wrong about that. Anyway, nicknames bridge a communication gap. Using a nickname you've heard or have personally bestowed on someone is usually much easier to remember. It's almost always a great deal more descriptive as to the personality or the physical attributes or the talents of the person that you've given the nickname. Let's take a look at a few. I'll bet you can think of dozens. For instance, a guy who works out with us at the gym in the mornings, I nicknamed Frog. I don't know his real name, and I doubt if the other guys in the gym know it either, but it's very descriptive. I started calling him that when he was wiggling his legs when he was trying a bench press. He'll always be known as Frog. There's a fishing guide at Lake Lanier. He's friendly, cooperative, he never raises his voice or gets upset. He's really a nicer person than the rest of us deserve. We call him Sweet Milk. Needless to say no more, he doesn't mind. A fellow I got to know he races stock car. Well, he races stock cars and on Saturday nights up in Jefferson, Georgia. He's really a great racer, and he's won many racers, and he's always difficult to contend with. He's always in the lead, but we call him Crash, and it fits perfectly. Our youngest daughter, Allison, when she was a baby, she was active, let's say, when she had diaper changes and things of that nature. And our oldest daughter, Amy, by 4 years, because of what she did, Amy called her Twister. Now she's always been known as Twister. Even to her nephews and cousins, it's Aunt or Cousin Twister. Here's something. Famous or infamous college or professional athletes get names too. For instance, Home Run Baker in the old major leagues. He only hit one home run in his life. Home Run Baker. Babe Ruth, nobody knows where the Babe came from. I checked it out on Sports Illustrated. But he's not named after the Baby Ruth candy bar. Think about this. Jack Nicklaus, he was called Ohio Fats. He was overweight, and he came from Ohio. Funny, isn't that the largemouth bass is called a bass, but he's not. He's a sunfish. A striper is a bass. Nicknames abound. And, well, maybe it's time for me to tell you my nickname. Not a chance. You'll have to ask someone else. I'll never admit to a nickname for O'Neill. You may have one for me. Maybe not. 34 after the hour. This is CVA Radio. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Let's see. I've probably got time for this. Let's talk to Milton Crabapple. Good morning, Milton.
O'Neill?
Yes, sir.
Milton Crabapple.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
That's my real name, too.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, do you have a nickname? I guess not.
Well, I've had a few.
Yeah.
Especially when folks was mad at me.
Oh, I got you. You're right. Yeah, those are easy to get. Yeah. So what's going on this morning?
I just had some good fish last night.
Oh, yeah? What'd you have?
Dude brought me over some fish, some little snappers. He'd been down to Florida fishing, and they caught a bunch of fish and brought me by some.
Good.
They was really good, too.
Saltwater fish.
They had some kind of little snappers. I forget what kind he said there was. And some trout. They was fishing down there I think he said on a place called the Pentecostal Waterway.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know where that is, but
that's a good spot.
Must be a good place to fish.
It's a good spot, the Pentecostal Waterway, yeah.
But I had a little tip for you this morning. Now.
Okay.
And this is something I've done myself a time or two, and it paid off.
I'm listening.
You was talking about fishing on them WMAs.
We're hunting on them, Yeah.
Yeah, hunting on them. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Get a little old sometimes. You can't tell the difference between hunting and fishing. Anyhow, hunting on them WMAs, you're right about most folks that hunt on them things. Now, they just pull up and walk off out there in the woods and sit down.
Mm-hmm.
So them deer them deer go to the places that are hard to get to where nobody goes.
Yes.
But here's a little tip now, and I've done this myself.
I'm listening.
All you got to do is, if you want to hunt on Dawson Forest, for instance, you call the Department of Natural Resources and ask them who the biologist is in charge of Dawson Forest. And they'll tell you who it is, and they won't give you their phone number usually, but they'll have them call you.
Oh, boy. Good idea.
And when they call you, you just tell them this: I'm interested in hunting Dawson Forest, and I want to know the most hard-to-get-to remote place on it where nobody ever goes to hunt. And they'll just light up, and they'll tell you exactly how to get to it. And I did that one time on Allatoona Management Area. I was going to go up there and hunt with the muzzleloader years ago, and I knew that place was crowded. Folks just up there by the thousands, it seemed like,
Milton,
and I called him, and he said, "I'll tell you exactly where to go." And
Milton, I've got Milton.
Because it's too long of a walk to get
Milton,
to. He told me where to go, and I went out there that morning. I saw two bucks, and I killed one.
I'm going to put you on hold because I have a question for you. This is O'Neill. I'll be back 40 minutes after. And we're talking now with Milton Crabapple. We still have something left with Milton. Sorry, Milton, I'm sorry I had to break up the call there. I got up against the clock. So you're headed to the Allatoona area, right?
No, I was. I did this a few years ago.
Okay, all righty.
I wanted to go deer hunting up there, and I called, and the biologist called me back, and he was happy to tell me how to get to a place that nobody ever goes. Mm-hmm. And I went there that morning, and I saw 2 bucks. I shot one, but I never saw another soul. There wasn't even nobody parked where I was parked because they didn't believe it was a good-looking place. And I was in there all by myself.
That's an excellent tip. That's a really good idea.
And them biologists, they know that whole place.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Kind of tickles them when somebody asks them how to get to a place that nobody wants to go to because they don't ever hear that,
Certainly not. They appreciate the attention and appreciate being able to tell you those things. That's a good idea.
By the way, I ordered your book.
Okay,
and
good.
It's supposed to be here any day, I reckon, so I can't wait to read it. I ain't had time to do much reading in a while, but I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Well, I hope you enjoy it, Milton. I think that you will. It's got some good old stories in there, and I think it'll be a pleasant read for you, and I can't wait to find out what you think of it when you give it a chance.
Well, good. Well, if I don't like it, I'm going to send it back and demand my money back.
Okay. That's good. I'll pay you. I'll give it back.
Well, I don't expect that I'll have to do that. I'm looking forward to it.
You bet. I'm glad you brought it up.
Stop by the jail when you're down this way. We'll finish that game of checkers.
I'll do it. Thank you, Milton. I'll see you, my good friend. Hey, before we get to the radio prize package, let's talk to Murdoch calling from Kennesaw. Good morning. What's going on with you this morning?
Not a whole lot. I thought I'd tell you that the farthest I ever traveled to hunt or fish was I flew, I don't know how many miles it is, but I flew from here to Miami and from Miami across to Abaco, Bahamas to go bone fishing and didn't catch a darn thing.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about that, but I'm sure it was a pleasant trip.
It was a great trip. And if you ever get a chance to go to Treasure Cay in Abaco, Bahamas.
Oh, well, what was the problem? What was the problem that you didn't catch anything?
The guy didn't get me on anything.
Oh, that's too bad.
Then the next day, I decided I'd hook up with somebody else and go deep sea fishing. And I caught a cobia. 35-pound cobia.
Ooh, boy, that's a nice size cobia. And did you put him back or did you eat him?
The guide took him home with him and ate him.
Okay, that's an excellent saltwater species. Great table fish.
And he's a hard fighter.
You betcha. Well, that's good. I appreciate you calling. I'm sorry you didn't catch any on the bonefish side. The bone fishing is harder than people think that it is because the fish are so shallow. Hey, great call, and appreciate you listening to the program.
Shallow. Thanks.
You bet. I'll see you soon. All right, let's do the radio prize package time. Let's see here. Okay, here's the radio prize package. Telephone numbers are 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. The rules are you have to be 18 years old or older, and you cannot have won a radio prize package, let's say, in the last 6 months. And we keep records about that, so don't think you're so slick, okay? And the radio prize package consists of Bojangles gift cards, a coupon from Swaggerty's at the store, DNR hat and rigs, Realtree hat, a green egg koozie kit, Arctic ice pack, an angler magazine, Georgia State Parks guide, a can of Fisher's Choice baits, a selection of True Turn tackle, and a Hydro Shot glass. Okay? And here's the question. Every week at the introduction of the 2 hours of the show at 4 o'clock and at 5 o'clock. We say that the show is coming from the Bojangles studio, and what else? What headquarters? Coming from a certain headquarters and the Bojangles studio. What is the name of the headquarters that we've given this place? It's 4:45 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and we're talking outdoors. Here's something interesting for you that you can apply for this year and ongoing. I want to make a recommendation to you. If you follow the show and watch the program, and you can see all of the shows at o'neilloutside.com. All the television shows, they're all there. They're all on YouTube, but you can see them all. And Travis, now, my grandson, is a guide and a cattleman out in the panhandle of Texas. And he works with and operates Rush Creek Guide Service. And this fall, he has 2 positions left. Otherwise, they'll be full. That's some of the best hunting for whitetail, muley, antelope, hogs, you name it, man. They're there, and it's great. 100%, all fair chase, no high fences, and you'll be hunting with Travis. Rush Creek Guide Service. Look them up on the web. Make your reservations. Don't wait, because they will be full. I guarantee it. Let's see if we've got a call here. And, gosh, we've got plenty of them for the radio prize package. And we'll get to those in a moment. Now, here's something else I want you to do. Ready? Oh, I've just got so many good things. Visit YouTube. You all do. And go to O'Neill Outside YouTube page. Subscribe. And comment on the videos. I like them. I don't like them. Whatever the case might be. When you subscribe, and then every time you like or comment on a video, you get in line to win one of the following. There's 110 prizes, and we'll give them away in October. So every day, go to YouTube, O'Neill Outside, and comment on a video. 2 pair of Thorogood boots, 5 Arctic Ice freezer packs, 10 True Turn tackle packs, 10 Daiichi tackle packs, 5 selections of Roadrunner lures, 3 Swaggerty's baskets, which you have a USB charger, keychains, coffee mugs, fishing shirt, Bluetooth speaker, hats, and coupons to use at a grocery store, a Fire Aid fire extinguisher, $50 coupons to use at Bojangles, Furminator, a hanging judge, digital deer scales, 2 of those, 2 Realtree camo jacket and hat combos, 1 Conus binocular, 10 by 42, 10 Plano tackle boxes, a CVA muzzleloader, Timbuktu Outdoors, Fisher's Choice, cloak and pay dirt, WORX power tool leaf blower, Georgia State Parks gift passes, a Big Green Egg charcoal lighter, a QDMA, what's that? QDMA membership and gift passes to Georgia State Parks. It's worthwhile. Go to YouTube, subscribe, and like one of the videos. All I'm trying to do is give away stuff from my sponsors, so that I just don't talk about them. You get to use their brands. Okay, that's out of the way. Now, longest distance travel, Let's see. We'll ask this before we get too far. And we have, here's Ken. Ken is calling on O'Neill Outside. Welcome to the program. You're on the radio.
Good morning, O'Neill.
Hey there. What do you say?
I'm having a good morning. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
My longest trip was with my 16-year-old son. I took him to Alaska.
Oh man!
And we went fishing on the Kenai River.
Wow! What a trip!
It was a once-in-a-lifetime trip for me, and I chose taking him when he was age 16 because at that age he was old enough till I didn't have to worry about him so much, getting into some kind of mischief, and he was young enough till he wasn't so involved with the girls at that time. So it was a fabulous time. We spent 6 weeks in Alaska, and we camped all over the country, all over the state. We drove 3,000 miles by automobile. And we never traveled over 2 hours at one time. Our itinerary was only for the first night and the last night.
Fantastic.
And we had the best time. And to carry it a step further, I lost my son at age 32.
Oh.
The day he passed away, he and I were talking about our trips to Alaska, and it stayed with him for every moment of it. And it was the best trip I've ever been in anywhere in my entire life. Now, with that said, last week I spoke to you, but I didn't tell you about the biggest fish I ever caught.
Okay.
And the biggest fish, the biggest bass, that's what I'm told, is not talking about sea fish. But when I was quite young, my dad and I went fishing and caught an 8-pound bass.
Ooh, wow.
That's the largest bass. That's the largest bass I've caught in my life, and I'm 74 now.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's really more unique about the bass than anything else was it was caught in the DeKalb County WORX Lake.
Oh.
Today, if you drive by the DeKalb County WORX on Peeler Road, you'll see a high security fence and all kind of warning signs and so forth. But over 60 years ago, there were no fences, and you could walk in and fish anytime you wanted to. But that's a pretty unique story, I think. The fact that the biggest fish came from a lake that you can't even fish in anymore.
Good. Good. Great story. I appreciate you sharing that with us, Ken.
Thank you, O'Neill. I love the show.
I really do. Thank you so much for sharing that. The memory lasted for him for 16 years and you forever.
Absolutely.
It's worthwhile. See you soon. Continue to listen to the program. It's 53 after the hour. This is O'Neill Outside, CVA Radio, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. And upon our return in a couple of minutes, we'll give away the radio prize package, and then we'll start the second hour, for goodness sake, of O'Neill Outside and CVA Radio. I tell you what, do you know of any other radio show like this? I don't. I hope you enjoy it. I get up early to do it. I'll be back. 57 after the hour, let's give away the radio prize package. Then I have another little topic to chat with you about. Our question was, from here in our studio in North Georgia, it's called the Bojangles Studio in reference to a headquarters from a certain headquarters. And Gary is calling on O'Neill Outside and CVA Radio. Gary, good morning.
Yes.
And
good morning.
You're about to win a nice radio prize package, I think.
Very good.
And
I appreciate it.
You bet. What's the name of the headquarters?
Black Powder Headquarters.
Black Powder Headquarters. I've been using exclusively CVA muzzleloaders, and I've hunted all over the world with a muzzleloader, and it's a CVA muzzleloader. So this is Black Powder Headquarters.
Yes.
So give us a couple of weeks. We'll send it to you all in one box at one time.
Okay, I live down below you.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Marble Hill. There you are. You bet you do.
Well, I don't live at Marble Hill. I live over off of Grandview Road.
I was just there this week.
Okay.
Yep, that's
well,
right.
I've been up to where you are many years ago, so enjoy hunting in that area.
Yeah, it's a good place. Well, I appreciate your participation, sir, and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. I never miss your program.
Well, thank you. Call more often. I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. You have a nice day.
You too, pal. All right, there you are. And the first hour of the O'Neill Outside is almost done. I have a special. Remember, I read you the story of the nickname. Our associate here at on the show, she is our engineer. She is a professional saxophonist. She is a private pilot. She engineers all of this and directs the radio show. We call her, or Gail named her, Houston. As in, Houston, we have a problem. It's the most perfect nickname I ever heard. Another hour of Outdoors headed your way. Stay right there.
O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. CVA muzzleloaders, it's just a better gun. Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. WORX Power and Garden Tools. Toyota, let's go places. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Swaggerty's Sausage, the finest premium pork sausage products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings.
Timbuktu Outdoors, the ideal solution to live bait.
Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs for the outdoorsman. Terminator, the best food plot implements on Earth. And the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, state parks, and historic sites.
From Black Powder headquarters in the Bojangles studio from Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia Mountains, O'Neill Outside presents CVA Radio. For anything in the outdoors, this is your source. Listen in and call the show with your comments or questions. And now, here's O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone, from Black Powder headquarters and the CVA studio. Well, no, it's the I'm sorry, I'm tired. It's the Bojangles studio, and this is CVA Radio. Every Saturday morning, 4 to 6 a.m., we're in the second hour of Outdoors. No politics, no sports. Hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, and spending time with your family, and safety tips for you hunting and fishing. So welcome to the program, everyone. It's almost 7 after the hour. We'll get to the calls, John, and the rest of you guys, you hold on for a moment. I do want to tell you that you can watch O'Neill Outside television on VOD networks at Carbon TV, Waypoint TV, Outdoor Action, Gone TV, The Hunt Channel, Destination Go, Pursuit Up, and at O'Neill Outside. You can visit there and watch the program every week, the television show. And when you visit o'neilloutside.com, right there on the homepage, you may have the opportunity to purchase my book called O'Neill Outside, People and Places Along the Way. And I think you'll enjoy it, and I will, if you buy it there off of the website, I will sign it for you and dedicate it to someone if that is your purpose, so that you can make a present out of it. And I hope you'll enjoy it. Milton Crabapple bought one this week off the internet. We're going to hear what he thinks about it next week. And if you have purchased the book and have read it, I'd love to hear from you. Most people say they like it. I mean, it's not The Grapes of Wrath or John Steinbeck. It's a book about hunting and fishing and how the television show came to be, the radio show came to be, and places to go and things to do with your family. So Purchase it if you like. I think you'll enjoy the read. So, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. We have some topics. Do deer sleep? Where do you put your trail camera? We have things to talk about, including and more importantly, your calls. And we'll get to those when we return. This is O'Neill. 12 after the hour, and I hope you're enjoying our bumper music. I'm not sure it's on the network, but it certainly is at WSB. I picked it out all myself, and I hope you enjoy it. My favorite, ever since college, I enjoyed opera. And my favorite singer is Luciano Pavarotti. And with his rendition or his performance of Nessun Dorma, oh my goodness, it may be the best performance in the history of music. And there it is right there. 10 seconds, listen. Okay. Well, you can't hear it on the network, but you can on WSB. I just got reminded by Houston. She's engineering, and she keeps me in line. Yeah, Luciano Pavarotti. Okay, let's get people have been holding on quite a while, and we appreciate that. First of all, let's talk to John from Lilburn. He's up next. Good morning, John.
Good morning, O'Neill. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Listen, I have one interesting little story about deer. We went out to Idaho.
Okay.
To go mule deer hunting.
Uh-huh.
We drove the whole way. It's 2,500 miles one way, in case you want to know.
Yeah.
But we went through the pass in the Wasatch Mountains, and O'Neill, the deer were so thick up there, they would run down the mountainside and cross the interstates, and there were deer, dead deer, on both sides of the interstate. It was incredible. Just the amount of deer that are out there. People, if you ever get a chance, that is the place to go. Anywhere out in Idaho, that Wyoming area out there, just loaded with mule deer.
That's great.
Ones too. It's a lot of fun, and you should. I agree with the other guy who drove to Alaska. You really should drive to appreciate how big this country is.
Oh yes,
and how beautiful it is.
Yes, what a great trip. Who did? What was a bunch of your buddies, or what did you do?
No,
Who
sir.
was going?
No, sir. It was a great trip. It was me and my brother and my father.
Oh boy!
And we drove nonstop in an F-450 pickup truck.
Oh.
And somebody drove, somebody rested, and somebody slept. And we went round robin until we got there. It took us 50 hours to drive out there.
How about that?
And
well, good for you. What a wonderful memory.
It was a great trip. And it was all on horseback.
Oh man, you really added to it.
Yeah, we did. We went way up in the mountains, up above the tree line, and for that area, and it was just beautiful. Just God's beautiful graces on that country out there, our country.
I wish I'd been there with you.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
You bet.
But thank you for your time. We just had a great trip.
You bet. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to call, listening to the show, and telling us about that trip. That's very interesting.
You better believe. Thank you.
Thank you for calling, John.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you. Let's see what's my timing. My timing is good. Now let's talk right now to Richard. He's calling from West Virginia, and Richard always has a wonderful question. Good morning, Richard.
I always do.
Yes, we're on.
Yes, if I could continue.
Okay.
One thing, did you ever get to talk to Luciano Pavarotti?
You'll have to. I didn't quite hear you, Richard. Please say it again.
Your favorite opera singer, you said, was Luciano Pavarotti?
Favorite singer, yes. Favorite operatic singer.
Did you ever get to talk to him?
Did I ever get to talk to him?
Yeah.
No, I never met him. I never saw him perform. I had scheduled a concert to go see him, and something personal happened. I don't remember. Somebody got sick or something. But I did miss him, and I'm really sorry for that.
Yeah, so is he still living?
No, he died of pancreatic cancer about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. I just thought that'd be a goal of yours. That would have been a goal of yours to get to talk to him then.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah, probably would. What I wanted to ask about was, well, two things. I wanted to ask this. It's not really fishing, but it's called CVA Radio. What do those initials stand for, do you know?
Well, CVA is the name of a muzzleloader company, and it stands originally for Connecticut Valley Arms. CVA.
Connecticut Valley Arms.
Uh-huh. Good question.
Okay. Here's what I wanted to ask about a salamander. Is a salamander a fish or a reptile?
It's a let's see, not a marsupial. It's a
amphibian.
He's an amphibian. He can live in the water and breathe air, and I think he can take oxygen from the water also. He's an amphibian.
Amphibian.
Yeah,
I caught one of those one time, and I looked at it and I said, boy, that's the ugliest looking creature I think I've ever seen.
Some of them in some foreign countries are huge, 5 or 6 feet long.
Well, I got one here. It's not 5 or 6 feet long. It might be a foot long, but it's just I was really surprised to catch something like that. And I don't know where I guess they're just in creeks or just...
yes, they're around the water. A frog is an amphibian. There's some that are not, but
when you catch...
around.
You know what a frog is when you catch it, but when you catch one of these things, I didn't even know what it was. And somebody told me it was a salamander. I'm just thinking,
that's
what's
the guy. That's the guy. Well, hey, it's always interesting to take your call, Richard, and I appreciate you listening and taking that time.
All right.
You bet. I'll see you soon, my friend, maybe next week. It's 18 after the hour. I think we've got time right now. No, I'm gonna put Mac on hold because I got some questions for him. But we have time for Ricky, I'm sure. Good morning, Ricky. You're on the air.
Hi. Good morning, O'Neill.
Hey.
Shout out to you from Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
Go Dogs. And I just wanted to share one of the trips I was fortunate to be able to take.
Please.
While I was serving in the military in the Air National Guard. Longest fishing trip ever. Started out as a military deployment. Left Warner Robins, Georgia in the hot Georgia summer in August of 2001. And flew to Cold Lake, Canada, all military transport with all my brothers and sisters in the Georgia Air National Guard. And after we got done with our duty, we were there for 2 weeks, so we had plenty of time to work. And our motto is work hard, play hard. And we were able to spend some of that play hard time outdoors. And we went and got a charter for some lake trout at Cold Lake. And it was just incredible because it was probably one of a once-in-a-lifetime type opportunity for me to catch a lake trout. And we trolled for them. That was a new experience for me. And we had 3 of us on board with the captain. And the lake was really kind of rough that day. It was almost like being out on the ocean, but it was just amazing. And we actually caught some fish that day. And the really cool thing about it was we got to bring them home. The base had a deep freeze, so we got to keep them in until we could fly back to Warner Robins.
Good.
And amazingly, we got a little creative with our packing because we knew it was going to be a long flight and also hot weather when we got back to Georgia. So we took clean towels and put them in water and wrapped them around those fish, put them in the trash bags, filled it up as tight as we could, put them in that deep freeze, and I will kid you not, that fish was still frozen when I got back to Warner.
How about that?
Amazing.
Fabulous. What a terrific story. Tell me, I'm almost out of time. Tell me, where is Cold Lake in Canada? Give me an idea.
Cold Lake is way up north. It's near Alberta, Canada, and in Alberta province. And it's just beautiful country. The Canadians were great hosts to us up there with the military. And it's just amazing how, even with the sound and the swoosh of the jets, we had B-1 bombers back then in the Georgia Air National Guard, and the Canadians had F-18 Hornets. Just amazing how Wonderful. And all the hustle and bustle of the military, we could get outdoors on our break and just enjoy something like that.
All right, terrific.
But it's way up north.
I appreciate your story and listening to the program, Ricky, and I got to go right now, so you have a great weekend. This is O'Neill, and we'll be back. 25 after the hour. This is O'Neill with CVA Radio, Saturday mornings, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the country. And I don't have to prove that. That's just me talking. Right now, here's Mac from Lanier. Good morning, Mac. Sorry I had to make you wait, buddy. How's it going?
Good, bud. How are you this morning?
Well, I know I delay you by putting you on hold there, but I can't help it. I'm sorry. So are you fishing today, sir?
Yeah, you're getting into my fishing time.
Yeah.
Doggone. It'll be all right. We'll just fish later.
Okay, there you are.
Yeah, we're not going to hurt our fishing time. So, yeah, we're going to go to the lake. You know, bite's been good out there, O'Neill, typical summertime stuff. I know people get discouraged sometimes. It's hot, but believe me, if you're not fishing now, striper fishing particularly, you're missing out.
You bet.
Yeah, it's good. Typical summertime patterns. A lot of trolling bites off the chain. A lot of fish being taken on live bait, live herring on a down line. Power reeling's good. So the only thing that I would caution people, if you're going out there today on Lanier and a lot of other area lakes, the one what I would call maybe slightly an anomaly, there's an awful lot of fish pushing up in pockets and coves. So as shallow as a 40-foot bottom. There's still main lake stuff, deep water stuff going on, but keep an eye on that. There's some fish pushing up there, especially early in the day. Trolling remains a really good way to find them, and then once you get on them thick, drop the baits, drop the spoons. But good fishing overall, very good bite.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Well all summer.
All right, we're talking about, and that's a great recommendation, you talk about fish pushing up into the coves from time to time. Is there a key for you to look for that has to do with that cove?
Yeah, I mean, it is somewhat random, but at the same time, I try and pin it down. What I really look for is usually most of these coves, even if it doesn't have a live creek coming in, it's a drain.
There you are.
And I like to find one that's got a drain and somewhere where maybe it's got an anomaly on it, a bend in it, where the drain makes a real sharp bend, or if it's a creek channel, it's got a bend. Timber on either side of the drain, or a flat that has timber on it, that type of thing. I try and pin it down or use the anomalies that are there to help me to expedite my search process.
Wonderful answer. And I, as you probably recall, I almost always have a reason to ask that or ask a question of you. See, you just separated 9 out of the 10 coves, or the first 10 coves you take a look at, you just separated one of them from the rest of them.
Exactly. It's all, there's a lot of water out there, and if you can just narrow your search, it's just like pattern fishing a bass fisherman would do. It makes you much more efficient. And even though striper's more of an open water fish and not quite as patternable, and their orientation to structure tends to be very loose compared to a bass. Still, if you can do that, you can still make yourself more efficient. Try and pattern.
Fabulous answer. So and then I have something to add to that. That cove with a creek in it, or a bend in the creek, and maybe some timber on the sides of the creek in the cove. If you're a bass fisherman and you know of a cove like that, and you pull up into that, toward that cove in the spring or the fall, your first cast is in the middle of the cove, not to the bank.
Right down the channel, right down the dead center.
That right down in the middle. I know years ago, and of course, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a real big pattern coming up with Lanier's bass fishermen in the fall, fishing these little drains and cuts right. You just cast right down the middle of it.
I remember, and I'm bragging now, but
now too.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I'm just going to say, years, a long, long, long time ago, when I used to tournament bass fish, I fished Lanier a lot, and I was successful on it. And I had a partner that I drew that day, and he was from Clark's Hill. So he fished an 8-inch worm and 20-pound test line. I fished a 4-inch worm and 6-pound test line. He threw to the bank, and I threw to the middle of the cove. I caught 51 that day, and he caught 1. And we were in the same boat.
That's
not a surprise,
I knew
is
where
it?
that was going. I knew the end game there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh no, you can't do that. And of course, he figures that out now.
Yeah, now. Mac, thanks for calling, sir. Have you got some open dates this fall?
Yeah, we got some after Labor Day. We got a lot of availability, so we'll still have plenty of good fishing coming up.
Okay, everybody call Mac at what website?
Captain Max, CAPTMACKS.com.
CaptainMax.com, and you will enjoy the trip and learn an immense list of fishing tips and experience. Call Captain Mac. Thanks for calling, Mac. There you go. There we go. It's always great to speak to Mac. He, let's see. I've got time for this. It's always a pleasure, always a treat. Hank the Yank. What do you say, my friend?
What's up, buddy? I'm going to tell you a great fishing story.
Okay.
When I moved down to Georgia when I moved down to Georgia down in 1997.
Okay.
I had never fished the lake before.
Mm-hmm.
And I had called the Department of Natural Resources and a whole bunch of people to do my homework on striper fishing on Lanier. And you know what everybody told me?
No.
Now, this is 23 years ago.
Right.
They said, you need to take a fishing trip with a guy by the name of Captain Mac Farr. And unfortunately for Mac, I did that.
Uh-oh.
And he's, I don't think he's ever gotten over it, But that's how I started my fishing down here, believe it or not.
No kidding. No kidding.
That was a long time ago.
What is, we talked in the early part of the show, first part of the show, that we talked about nicknames. Do you have a nickname?
Yes.
Would you tell me what it is?
You gave me a nickname.
Oh.
Yeah, you gave me Hank the Yank.
Yeah. Good.
But I actually did have listen to this. I actually had 2 nicknames growing up as a kid.
Uh-huh.
Because my first name is Henry, they called me Higgins.
Okay.
You remember Henry Higgins from My Fair Lady?
I do, yes.
And so in college, a lot of the guys called me Higgins.
Higgins.
But this is actually a funnier one. Back when we went to college, O'Neill, you could drink on campus because the drinking age back then was 18.
Okay.
And I worked at the bar, the campus bar. Colleges used to have bars on campus back in those days. And they were all named Rathskeller. And I worked at the Rathskeller bar as a bartender, and we had a softball team. And I was the pitcher for the team. And because I was the only Jewish kid on the team, they called me West Bank Hank. That's what it said on the back of my jersey.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That right?
West
everybody had a jersey on our team, and I was West Bank Hank.
I just love nicknames. I'll tell you,
it's really
done. Nicknames are stories within themselves. And
there's no question. Maybe that should be your next book.
What's that? Oh, what? About nicknames?
Maybe that should be your next book.
Okay, well, it's in the first book.
Yeah, all the nicknames in the outdoors.
Oh, yeah, I need new ones.
Okay.
I have a story. I have a chapter in the book about nicknames. It'd be great. I know more now, so that would be a good idea. West Bank Hank.
Well, anyway, West Bank Hank. So listen, let me tell you real quickly why when you go fishing, you always have to have a plan B.
Okay.
So I went out on Lanier last weekend because I got a call from a good friend, Bob Benson, up here in Georgia. And he says, Henry, I am on a fabulous gar bite. I'm like, okay. And he told me where he was going, and we went to go gar fishing. And with the fly rod. Mm-hmm. And we went out for about an hour and a half last Sunday morning. And O'Neill, I mean, I don't know that maybe we saw one gar. And he put me exactly where the fish have been. But you know how that goes.
Sure.
It doesn't mean they're going to be there the next day. But he says he's been on them for weeks already.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there, and we didn't do a thing. So then I said, listen, I was with a buddy, and I said, listen, let's go to the reef marker over here that in the years past was fabulous for topwater spotted bass.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, we ran over to the reef marker, and for the next 2 hours, we had spotted bass on top for 2 hours straight. They kept coming up. It was just, and it was Plan B. So, you know, it's always good to have a Plan A and a Plan B.
Yes, it is.
When you go fishing.
Yes.
Whether it's a spot or whether whether it's a certain way you're going to fish or, you know, whatever it is, you should always have a strategy before you go laid out in your head, because it can be the difference maker between catching and versus fishing.
That's right. You know, that lends itself, and, you know, of course, it's always about me, Henry. That lends itself to a tip I give to people, and, you know, I'm a minimalist. People would say, how can I be a better bass fisherman? I said, go. Go fishing. Go over and over and over and over again. Stay on the lake. Try different things, different places, but go. If you don't go, you'll never be any good.
Well, or what we used to say is, you don't know unless you go.
Oh, there you are. You made it better. You improved it.
So that's what and here's the thing, I find a lot of anglers.
Okay, hurry.
Now, a lot of anglers nowadays with the social media, they wait to hear and read about what's going on rather than go themselves and try and figure it out before everyone else. Mm-hmm. Anyway, listen, I know you're coming up to the break, so it's good speaking to you. West Bank Hank, over and out.
Okay. Good to hear from you, my friend. This is O'Neill. I'll be back. 40 minutes after the hour. Welcome back, everything. Got a couple of things I want to handle. During the first part of the program, we had someone ask about where to go deer hunting, where to get some land to go deer hunting. He doesn't want to lease a place. He's lost a place he has. And so I recommended to him, and I'm recommending to you, that you visit the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and their wildlife management areas. I mean, there's millions of acres, and I'm sure in whatever state you live, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, whatever, the Department of Natural Resources there has places for you to go deer hunting that are good places, and it's free. And then I had a follow-up call. I made the recommendation, if you use a wildlife management area, go during the week and venture into the woods. Don't just park the truck and walk 50 yards. Okay? Then Milton called, and he said the following worked for him. He wanted to know where to hunt on the Dawson Forest. So he called the Department of Natural Resources, left his name and number and on the subject of the Dawson Forest, and a biologist called him back and told him exactly where to go, where you won't see any other hunters. That's a terrific resource for places for you to go deer hunting this fall without having or without the opportunity to lease or own your own place. The caller was kind of concerned because he didn't know where everybody else in the woods would be. So the biologist called and told Milton, and he said this first trip into that spot, he saw 2 big bucks and he took one. Interesting, huh? Okay. Secondly, Travis has 2 spots left for a fall hunt. Rush Creek Guide Services. Look them up on the internet. Travis is a guide now out in Oklahoma and Texas in the Panhandle. 100% you're going to get a shot at a whitetail or a mule deer or an antelope, hogs, coyotes. It's fabulous. I've been there. Let's see, what else have I got here? Okay, I looked at most of the people who call the greatest distance they hunted or fished. They went to the Bahamas, they went to Canada and Alaska and all around. It's fun and you really build memories with some of these long trips, even though going around the corner to the wildlife management area is just as valuable. Secondly, then, too, if you'll visit WORX Tools, WORX, just WORX.com. And if you'll use the following code, outside15, whatever the prices are listed there on the internet for WORX.com, outside15 will get you 15% off. But this is only going to last 2 more days. Let's see, 1 more day, the 23rd, that's tomorrow. You've got 1 more chance to get 15% off WORX.com, outside15. Okay, we've done a lot of things this morning. Nicknames, great places. This has been a good show. Do you think so? And I can't wait to hear from Milton next week. He purchased my book, O'Neill Outside, and so maybe next week we will hear from Milton and what he thought of O'Neill Outside. You can buy it off my website, the homepage, and you can get it at Amazon, and there's, reviews and of the book. So let's see, what else did I have? Oh, yeah. Gun sales are off the chart, up 70% or so. If you are a first-time gun owner, the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and the DNR wherever you live, they will likely have a course of training for first-time gun owners. It's important for you to have a gun, to me. It's important for you to have a carrying license, to me. But it's important also for you to be familiar with that firearm, be it a rifle, a shotgun, a pistol, and all the various models. Visit the DNR, Georgia DNR. It's called, what do we learn? It's called the Want to Learn to Shoot. Give It a Shot, it's called. Give It a Shot classes, Department of Natural Resources. Besides, it's fun, and you get to learn something. It's quite a deer. All right, we're going to talk about later about if deer sleep or not. But right now, we will have the most important part of the program. It's called the Medal of Honor Tribute.
Honor, courage, and strength of character. These qualities are embodied by the recipients of the Medal of Honor. Now let's recognize this week's Medal of Honor recipient on O'Neill Outside.
Leroy Petrie, Sergeant, Afghanistan, 75th Ranger Regiment, Army. This happened in 2008. Staff Sergeant Petrie moved to clear the courtyard of a house that contained high-value combatants. While crossing the courtyard, Staff Sergeant Petrie and another ranger were engaged and wounded by automatic weapons fire from enemy fighters. Still under enemy fire and wounded in both legs, Petrie led another ranger to cover. He then reported the situation and engaged the enemy. The enemy quickly threw grenades. The first grenade exploded, knocking 2 of his fellow rangers to the ground and wounding him and them with shrapnel. A second grenade then landed only a few feet away from them. Instantly realizing the danger, Sergeant Petrie, with complete disregard for his own safety, moved forward, picked up the grenade, and threw the grenade back away from his fellow rangers. As he was releasing the grenade, it detonated, amputating his right hand at the wrist and further injuring him with multiple wounds. Despite the severity of his wounds, he communicated the situation by radio in order to coordinate support for himself and his fellow wounded rangers. His extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself, the 75th Ranger Regiment, and the United States Army. Staff Sergeant Leroy Petrie lives in Fort Benning, Georgia. 48 after the hour. That is the high point of every show. I don't want to miss this, the True Turn Tackle Tip. I've been failing to do this with you every week, and these are fabulous tips, and we get them from the audience. I get them off the internet. I get them in conversations I have with people every single week. I would like to pass them along to you when I can. Here's a great idea. Okay, you've signed, finally you're at these deep clear water lakes with stripers, and you finally get on some deep water bass or stripers on the depth sounder. You say, oh boy, there they are. Great. Now put on a fresh bait, not one you've had on that's been in the live well. Put on a fresh bait. Okay. Why would you want to do that? The first drop, that first bite, that first attraction that you make down into the school, that is the trigger that may get the rest of the school activated. So that first bite that's the best one. That first bite is the best bite, because that may trigger the rest of the school into biting your partner's bait or your next bait that you put down. So when you find the school on the depth finder, put down a fresh bait. It may make a difference in you catching 4 out of that school instead of 2 out of that school. And it may be the biggest striper you've ever caught. Good idea. Second tip. A lot of us fish ponds. I know I do. I think pond fishing is fabulous. But in most ponds, instead of major reservoirs, most ponds, the forage fish, the bait fish, is brim or crappie or another bass. So you don't want to use colors that are for shad or bluebacks. You want to use worms and crankbaits and things of that nature that are the same color as the forage fish. Use colors like orange, green, and chartreuse, and colors like that. You'll get more bites, I promise. 51 after the hour. We've got time now to speak to Sutton. Been holding on quite a while, and I appreciate that. Good morning, Sutton.
Good morning, Mr. O'Neill. How are you, sir?
You bet. Thanks for calling the show. What's going on?
I was going to give you the update on the frog gigging. I'd called you about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, good. Yes.
Got hold to the DNR man. He says no frog gigging on state land, meaning WMAs. So I don't know about the Corps of Engineer lakes.
Mm-hmm.
But it don't matter. That's what he told me. But anyhow, Hank was talking about the gar fishing.
Uh-huh.
When I lived in Louisiana, them folks go after them alligator gar.
Oh, boy.
150-pound range. You can use it jugging with a big old treble hook, chicken leg on it, or snagging with a surf rod where the locks and dams is.
I wonder what.
Hold on one of them things, and you sure enough got something.
Yeah, wonder what I've only got a minute and a half. How big do they get? Alligator gar.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
I said, how big do the alligator gar get in Louisiana?
Like big one's 200 pounds.
Whoa, man!
Yeah, they caught one out of the Mississippi River at Natchez. It was on the front page of the Natchez Democrat about 10 years ago. Take up the back of a pickup truck bed. But what they do, they make the meat. They make what they call gar balls. It looks like hush puppies, and it's real good.
How about
that?
The
meat is real sweet, almost like lobster. But
Well,
I'm just going to throw that in there. I know you're busy. And if somebody ain't got no money to go to the Cajun Vista Lodge, you can take your John boat down to Natchez, Mississippi for about $200 and catch you some alligator gar.
There you go. And hey, they're not any 200-pounders at Cajun Vista either.
No, them redfish is fun to catch.
Oh man, yeah, it's all good, but they don't weigh 200 pounds. So that's fabulous. What a great story.
Yeah, that's just something good. All right, so you have a good weekend. That was good talking to you.
You do, pal. Thanks for listening to the program and taking the time to call. That's a very good story. It's 53 after the hour. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside. Make plans to visit with us every Saturday, if you will, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. After all, if you got up and did a radio show, I would listen. So I think you should listen to this one. Of course, I'm talking to people who already do. Oh, you got to have fun. This is O'Neill. You stay right there. We've got a little bit left. Well, 57 after the hour. Welcome back to the program, everyone. It's been a very productive 2 hours, don't you think? We had some great tips from Milton Crabapple, from Mac Farr, Hank the Yank, and a lot of other guys. And what a great illustration. We got a call from a friend who calls the show from time to time, and he told a story about when he went with his 16-year-old son many years ago into Canada, and they spent several weeks fishing. And the memories of that are like leaves of gold. Will last him the rest of his life. And I urge you to make plans to do the same. And while going to football games and basketball games and going to college football and playing in those high school sports are all very important. I did it all too. But let me tell you, there's nothing like one-on-one with a hunting trip, a fishing trip, or a simple hike in the woods. One-on-one. No cell phone. No computer, just the two of you and your family, or 3 or 4 for that matter. But it's not going to happen unless you plan it. It has to be something we are going to get together to do. And not just once, repeatedly. I remember those trips with my grandfathers, both of them. And both of those trips and the stories of those trips are in my book, O'Neill Outside, People and Places Along the Way. I wish you'd give it a try, not to hear my stories as much as to maybe inspire you to create your own. It won't be like any other trip you ever take. So let me leave you with this, as always. Thank you for listening to the program. Thank you for your participation. And if you're too busy to go fishing and hunting, and take a child along, more than ever, you're too busy. I'll see you next Saturday morning, 4 o'clock.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio. O'Neill, O'Neill, O'Neill Outside.